Hey guys, it's Larry Greenberg. Today we're going to talk about ADT Pulse. ADT, I'm sure as most of you are aware, is an alarm company or security company that, helps with home protection. I recently upgraded my home security system to the ADT Pulse system, which is rather new, and I want to take you guys on kind of a tour of the entire system. So right now I'm on the ADT Pulse website. This is kind of the informational website that tells you exactly what ADT Pulse is and how it works. Real quickly, it's made up of a bunch of different components, and I'll show you them all, throughout my house and on the internet. But basically, it allows for wireless control of a variety of components, not only wireless within your home, but when you're away from your home as well. So currently in my home, I'm utilizing the ADT Pulse thermostats to control my home heating and cooling. I'm using it to control my alarm system and using it to control some of the lights in my house. And I also have wireless cameras. In addition to all that, I of course have my regular alarm, like I mentioned, and now also have wireless smoke detectors that are built into the alarm as well. And all of this comes with several ways to monitor what's going on in and around your house. I will show you the ADT Pulse online portal, which is one way, the iPhone app, another way, and then they also provide you with a touchscreen keypad-like device that looks similar to a digital picture frame that also allows you to manage the ADT Pulse system from within your home. So again, this is the website. I'm on it now, and it talks about how exactly some of the components work and what they all are. Z-Wave is the technology that Pulse uses. It's built into all of the different components, and here you see some of them. There's a light switch, the thermostats. There is a module that you can plug in for lamps and things like that. These are the wireless cameras. Of course, the iHub, that's what controls everything, and I'll go over that as well. You can use receptacles, outlets. I did not choose any of those. Again, more lighting modules, and then lighting controls. So those are some of the components. I believe there's somewhere upwards of 180 different products that use the Z-Wave technology, and that's what allows all these different things to communicate to each other throughout my home. The portal is the interactive way that online you control everything. So at home, for example, when I'm on my computer, I can bring up this portal, which is a website, and control all the elements that I have in my system. And I'll show you that as well. The touch screen, again, like I mentioned, looks like a digital picture frame. I'll show you that up close and personal. But again, I can control most of the things on my system with this little touch screen. And then, of course, mobile. I'm using it with my iPhone. It's available for the BlackBerry and Android as well. I will show you the app as well that allows you to control all the different elements. So I'll try to get through as much content as I can as I show all the different components and all the different hardware and software, and we will go from there. So join me now on a tour of the ADT Pulse system. All right, so I'm down in my utility room just to show you what the alarm panel looks like. This is the first step in the installation process, was to install this panel. Now, I already had an alarm system installed in my house, so some of the components like the wiring and whatnot were able to be reused, but I did require a new panel. So the first challenge in the installation process is this panel requires a wire to be run from here to wherever your router is. In my case, I'm in the basement right now in my utility room. My router is upstairs, one floor above in the office. So the ADT guys did a great job of fishing wire, through my walls, up and down, getting the wire from my router to this panel without doing any damage whatsoever to my house, which is, paramount. So this is the panel, not all that exciting, but I felt the need to show it to you. So this is the iHub, and I apologize for the awkward lighting, but I'm in my office, and this was placed behind my entertainment center kind of thing, if you will, where my computer is stored, so it's out of the way. But this is kind of the guts of the ADT Pulse system. As I mentioned, there is a wire running from that control box that I just showed you in the basement all the way up here to this control unit here, the iHub. This is kind of the brains of the unit. This controls all the devices, and most importantly, there's a router cable or an Ethernet cable that runs from the iHub into my router, and that's what controls everything when I'm online, out of my house. So this is the iHub, again, wire running directly from it all the way down to the basement, and then a Ethernet cable running from this to my router. All right, so I'm in my dining room now and I'm using the iPhone application to show you how the thermostat control works. I do have two thermostats in my home and I'm able to control both of them using the iPhone application. So as you can see, the temperatures both on my iPhone and on the thermostat themselves are both the same. And I have to wake up the thermostat. It's kind of in sleep mode right now. And that gives me all the other information about it, that it's set to heat, that it's set to come on if the temperature drops below 67 degrees and all that good stuff. And you can see that corresponds on the iPhone app, heat if below 67. Now if I want to raise it, if I want the, let's say, heat to come on if it drops below 70, I can do that on the iPhone app, and hopefully you can make out that it now says heat below 70. And if I click over here and wake this up again, you'll see that in a minute it will also change on the keypad itself to heat below 70 as well. There we go, it just did. So it takes a few seconds, but if you're away, no big deal. Now you can see that this is set to come on when it's below 70. And although you can't hear it, I hear my heat running right now. So, if you're away and you're out and you've set your heat down real low and you want the, temperature to be nice and warm when you come home, you can use this to control your heat and have it nice and warm when you get home. Or in the summertime, have your air off when you're out and about. When you know you're going to be coming home, you turn it on to keep the air coming on so it gets nice and cool when you get home. Right now I'm on the light tab in my iPhone application, and this is one of the lights I have control of with my iPhone application. You can see it's entitled lamp module. This is basically something that plugs into the wall, and then you can plug in any kind of lamp that you'd like. And right now you can see the lamp is on. If I tap the off, it turns off. Let's say I want it to go back on. Tap back on. You can see it's almost instantaneous. I also have control of this via the web portal, so I can set it to come on and off by itself. We have this lamp in our foyer, for example, and I like to have it on and off, when it's dark, and I can do that automatically. So this wall switch is also part of the system. It's another one of the lights I have control of. I'm in one of my closets right now, and it operates just like a regular light switch. When I want to turn it off, I click it off, and it has a dimmer built in. Now we're in the dark, and now I'll turn it back on, and you'll see it come back on. But of course, I can control it via the iPhone as well. And off camera, I'll log into the ADT application and show you exactly how that works, because there is a dimmer functionality built into this light switch as well. So right now I am logging in, as you can see. So we'll let that log in. And I'll go to lights, and I'm going to go to my master bedroom closet. You can see right now it's on and it's at full brightness. Say I want to dim it. I'm going to dim it. See, it just got darker in here. I'll dim it even more. Say I want to turn it completely off. Now we're in the dark. And now I'll turn it back on. And it remembers the dimmer position, so it only dims up a little bit. Now I'll crank it back up all the way. And now we're back to full brightness. So obviously this is ADT. One of the principal components is the home security system. This is one of the keypads in my home, and I have the iPhone app pulled up to the alarm portion of the application just so I can show you how I can arm and disarm the system using the iPhone from basically anywhere in the world. So right now the system is ready to be armed. It is showing one fault. Shows me all of my different zones. It's just showing me that my foyer motion detector is open just because I still, I just recently walked by. But here I can view all of my different zones and tells me if anything's wrong with them, if I need to check them or anything like that. I can do so right on the application. I can bring up history. It shows me, whether it was online or offline, any kind of activity for each one of the individual zones. But just for this example, I'm going to simply arm the system. You can choose whether you want to arm away or arm stay. That basically denotes whether you're going to use the motion detectors or not. Since I'm home, I'm going to arm stay. And it's just telling me the foyer motion is open, but that's no big deal because I'm using stay mode. So I'll hit arm anyway, and you can see that it just started arming. You can hear it beeping. It's giving my 60-second countdown to let me know that I have, 60 seconds before the alarm is armed. So rather than let it go through the entire 60 seconds, I'm just going to show you how if I want to disarm it, if it was armed, showing me now that it is, armed. All I'd have to do is hit the disarm, and it's going to automatically disarm it. You saw how quick that was. Now the system is fully disarmed. So now we're taking a look at one of two of the wireless cameras that came with my system. This one is shooting out my front window towards my front door, and on the iPhone application I'm on the camera tab where it shows both of my cameras. So if I want to view one live, I simply click on the live button and it will start streaming my camera. And there you can see it right there. It's now streaming the view that I have of my front door. If someone comes to my front door, I'm able to see them without going to the front door. If I want to view my other camera, which is shooting on my driveway, simply flick across and it now shoots onto my driveway. You can also use this to capture pictures or video clips using the capture button in the upper right hand corner. I can also go back and view things that I have captured. Shows me the timeline of all the items that I've captured, both video clips and pictures, and I can go back and view them directly on the iPhone application. So here is another really important component to the Pulse system, and that is the LED touchscreen keypad. This right now is on my bedside table. It does have to be plugged in, so it's not wireless, but it allows you to control almost everything that's on the system. So if I hit home, it goes to the main menu, and there you can see all of the different items it has on here. Number one, I can view my cameras. I showed you those before, and there they are. There's view one, camera one, and there's camera 2, so I can see what's going on in and around my house from wherever I have this. Someone comes to my door and rings the doorbell and I don't want to go downstairs to see who it is, I can simply pop this up and see who's there. So those are the cameras. I can also view a clock, so if I want to keep this kind of like my bedside clock, I can do that. It has local traffic information. You can set your location, or any location for that matter, and it will load up if there's any potential traffic problems in your immediate area. It has a nice weather display that gives you a several day ahead forecast as well as the current conditions. Photos, I actually have it set up right now with my Flickr account so I can view my own personal photos, and it does have a screensaver mode that when you haven't been using it for a certain amount of time, it goes into screensaver mode and does funnel through the photos, so it literally does become sort of like a digital picture frame. News gives you local headlines and world events. You can choose which news items you want displayed. From finance, business, world, US, photos, and top stories. Same thing with sports. You get back to sports. You can choose which sports feeds you want. This is basically just headlines, not real exciting, but you can choose which of the different sports genres you want to hear about or read about. Daily Word. It's just what it sounds like. Gives you a word of the day, and you can learn new vocabulary words. Night mode, obviously if you're going to have this by your bedside table, it's quite bright, so night mode basically shuts it down, still keeps it on, it just dims the entire screen, and as you see it said tap anywhere on the screen to wake it up. So that's what I do at night. The lights, I can control my lights right here. You see those are the two light modules that I showed you earlier in the video, and I can turn them on and off directly from this keypad. Of course, there's the alarm system. If I click here, it will tell me which zones are okay, which are not okay. Again, just like on the iPhone, I can view all the different history that's been going on. This one's okay. Details, I can get all the details about what each zone is and what it does. And then of course I can arm and disarm the system right from here. So I don't have to go to one of my numeric keypads. I can simply hit the arm button and it will ask me if I want arm to stay or away and whether I want the exit sound to be on or off. Usually when I'm using this keypad to arm it, I'm home and I'm in bed or getting ready to get in bed, and I don't want that exit sound on because I don't want it to wake up my kids. So it's nice that they have that feature built in. So that is a brief look at the keypad. Again, nice add-on feature, that you can have. You can place it anywhere in your house. It does have to be plugged in. I wish it was wireless. That would make it, much more usable. But, the fact that it's wired is a component that you just have to live with. So that is the keypad. So the final component of the ADT Pulse system that we're going to take a look at today is the online portal. I've shown you how you can control everything from the iPhone application. The portal is how you can control all of the elements via the web. So this is in Safari right now. It works obviously with most browsers, and it creates a tab-like system that has all of the components laid out for you. So right now I'm on the summary tab. I've already logged in because you do have to use a special username and password. On the summary tab, I see all of my components. This is the alarm component, and just like on the iPhone application and on the keypad, I can arm both away and stay directly from this application. Here I can view all of the elements of my alarm system. Under other devices, I see all of my lamp modules and lighting modules, as well as the dining room thermostat and bedroom thermostat, and I can, if I click on one, adjust the temperature directly from that. I can click on one of the lights to turn it on or off, all from the online portal. Under notable events, it shows me anything that's happened on my system, whether it was armed, disarmed, whether it was activated, or anything like that. Under cameras, I see all of the cameras that I have on my system, the video clips and snapshots that I took. You can also click here and view a live dashboard, which brings up both of my cameras at the same time. You'll see it takes a second to connect. This is something that, perhaps you would leave running, maybe all day if you were in your office or, at home, and you would have access to both of your cameras all the time. So once it loads up, it's pretty quick at getting the images going, and there we go. So now I can see both my cameras in this live dashboard view. If I want to leave that, that window browser open all the time, I can have that there and view my cameras at any moment. So that's the main page. Under today's schedule, these are any events I have scheduled. For example, I mentioned in the segment where I showed you the lamp in my foyer, I have this set to turn on automatically and turn off automatically, and you can schedule that. The history tab, that shows you, and again, any of the activity that's happened in my system, whether I accessed it via the web, whether there was motion in my house, whether the light was turned on or off, anything like that is shown here in the history tab. And you can, of course, set alerts on this system. There's a variety of alerts you can set. I'm not going to go through all of them here, but for example, I have one that's set for my front and garage door. If someone opens my front door, I get an email notification that includes a video clip that's taken from one of my cameras that happens to be shooting at my front door. So that way, when my front door opens, I know who opened it and I can see the video of them doing it. Same thing when something happens on my alarm. If my alarm goes off, for example, not only do I get the traditional phone call from the company, but I'll get an email letting me know that my alarm has activated. Automations, nothing really I have going on here. You can add different automated events like things with the alarm. I don't really have anything set for that right now, but we'll get back to that probably in the future. Schedules, this is where I mentioned about the lamps. Right now I have the lamp scheduled to go on and off every day, on at 6:15 or off at 6:15 a.m. and on at 6:30 p.m. And you can do that with a variety of your devices. System, again, this shows me everything that I have attached to my system, whether it's the security panel, the touch screen, the iHub itself, all of my different alarm components, my cameras, my thermostats, my lamp modules. I can click on each one. I can name it whatever I want. It tells me the status and all that good stuff. There's a lot of other settings in here as well that you can play with, and I'm not going to go through all of that now just for the sake of time. So I want to thank you for sticking with what I know has been one of my longer videos, but this system is quite large and I wanted to make sure I showed you a lot of the components. I really only scratched the surface here. There's a ton of stuff with this system that I could have showed you, but I think I covered most of the key components. Is the system right for you? I can't answer that question. That's up to you. I will tell you that cost-wise, there are a variety of packages depending on which components you choose. The system that I opted for came out to around $1,700. That includes all of the components, all the hardware, the installation, and everything that goes in, with that first initial setup. And then, of course, there's a monitoring fee. Now, I was paying that already for my alarm, but with the Pulse system, it's a little bit more because you get some added features. Monitoring fee is around $59 a month for the monitoring service. So you have to keep that in mind. Again, I could have spent more. I could have gotten more, sophisticated cameras, more outdoor hardwired ones, which were 2 or 3 times the price of the cameras that I chose. I could have gotten more lamp modules or more thermostats if I had some, and so forth, or less for that matter. You could choose not to have the cameras if you only have one thermostat, or you only want one light module. You can customize your specific package, from a variety of things to choose from. So all in all, I've been using the system for a few days, and we've had a few hiccups with the initial setup, but ADT has a nice 1-800 number that you can call for technical support if you need it. They've been very helpful, and I think the system is going to work out quite nicely for us. So that is all for the ADT Pulse system. I hope you enjoyed this, like I said, brief, quote unquote, look at it. And if you have any questions about it, I suggest heading to the ADT website. You can leave me a comment. I'll try to answer as best I can. But ADT are the experts, and they'll be able to answer your questions as well. So have a great day. Drop me a line with any questions, and I will see you in the next video.